it's hard. Don't get me wrong, and like you have got to be thick-skinned with it because like everyone's having an opinion on you. Like you do get a lot of stick from people, like from the press or like just fans really on Twitter or something like that. But I feel like you just got to be thick-skinned, and it's kind of the job now. Obviously, it shouldn't be happening, but at the same time, you just got to get on with it.
I'm interested because you mentioned that you get quite a lot of stick on Instagram, and all through your DMs you do get a lot of people hating, and I was just wondering, how do you deal with that? Like you said that you have to be thick-skinned, but how did you make yourself thick-skinned?
Well, to be fair, it broke me at one point. To be fair, at one point I was going to call it a day. I think I was at Barnsley and everything just weren't going right. I moved up there and it just like, I just couldn't. It's like everything I was trying to do, I just couldn't do. Like I played a few games and it was just like, I can't, like a ball would be going past me. I'm like, a few weeks ago I've been saving that and it's like, it just didn't fit right. I think it was kind of like I didn't settle down there and then I got a bit stick and then it's kind of like, that was like my lowest point. Because I didn't know how to deal with it kind of thing. And in the end, I went and spoke to someone about it. And then they kind of said, like, look, the way you've got to think around it because it's just opinions at the end of the day. Because they don't see you from day to day what you do day to day. So it's kind of, you've kind of just got to ignore it in a way, not look at it.
Yeah.
Because that's the worst thing. When you start reading up on things, what people have said, you don't care who you are, it gets to you. Because no one wants to read anything that's been like bad said about you, which is bad as well. So I think like you got to be at your lowest and to build yourself up. I had a good foundation when speaking to someone about it, and he said like we put like blocks in place, like what I should do, how I should do. Because I used to be quite, I wouldn't say how I was feeling, and then in the end I kind of like even my dad and that, like family wise, I wouldn't really, I kept it to myself. I didn't want them to like think I was struggling because I was living so far away as well. I thought I didn't want them to think, oh, he's struggling, and they can't do anything. So I feel like that and opening up and talking is massive. Like that's the best thing I did when I was struggling. Then like I started talking, and then it just kind of like built up from there. And then I started getting better, started being more confident. Got played a few games, and then it's kind of gets you where you are now. And now anything happens, I can deal with it, kind of thing. It's not like I'm going to go back into that same diff where I'm thinking, oh, I don't want to do this no more or anything like that. I know how to deal with it. I know I've got the tools to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's just a lot to, like now it's massive now. And I'm glad it is because there is a lot of people like dealing with it and it is hard, especially when you're living far away from your family and not used to it. But it's good now that people are starting to recognise it and starting to like there are tools there for people to help like deal with it.
Just on the like fact of like receiving abuse on like Twitter you mentioned as well, is there anything you feel like these social media platforms or even like bigger bodies like the FA or UEFA could do to decrease the amount of abuse? Because like especially with things like the Man City academy player that came out like at the beginning of the year as well, I think that's something that really needs to be addressed. Is there anything you feel that they can implement to improve it?
I feel that like if you're having a profile, you got to, the only way that it was stopped, because a lot of the abuse was getting, it was through people with it was just like say a dog as a profile picture, and it's like, well, what am I to say to that? It's like you're not really a real person. If you have like a photo of you, but like you'd want someone like have a verified, so you know, like if someone's saying something to you, then like you could say like, well, not reply. But to be fair, the worst thing is to reply because then like you just reacting to them and then you go into their level. But I feel it'd be less people doing it if they have like a verified photo or like a verified account because then they're risking their like jobs. You know what I mean? Like it's going down that road of it, and everyone has an opinion. Don't get me wrong, but like sometimes it gets too far. Like have your opinion. Say like you had a bad game. Like and say it, but don't just say it. Then carry it on and go into that next level where it's like you're kicking someone when they're down, kind of thing. But it's hard. It's social media. It's hard to like verify. You know what I mean? To actually verify people like, and then like there's other things that come into it. But it's moving in the right direction. I feel it is moving in the right direction now.
Yeah. And do your clubs give you like media training?
Yeah, Birmingham did. Birmingham did.
Yeah.
I think that helped me a lot, to be fair. Because that actually set me up. Because when the big started getting questions asked, it was kind of like what they were saying. And it was like, it weren't a big shock. It weren't like you was going into it and you're like, oh, what do I say here, kind of thing. You kind of prepared for it. And I feel that helps me a lot, especially because like when you go to a new club or something, you're going to get interviews, you're going to do that, especially if you're doing well, and it's like you want to get ready for it. And that's like you're saying, that's like little things that like people probably don't realise that you've got to do until like you actually start getting into it. And so it's not just all, we'll play football from like 9 till 12, 1. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that like people don't see.
Yeah. What sort of like training do they give you? How do they prepare you to answer certain questions?
They literally, from what I can remember of it, they sat us down in like a proper board meeting, like with the cameras and all that, and then they tried to like, they gave you a little prep saying, don't say this kind of thing. You got to like be quite neutral kind of thing.
Okay.
Which is, so like you can't really say like, oh, so and so, or like about the ref or anything like that. It's kind of, you be quite neutral with it, which keeps you out of trouble at the same time as well, because you're not saying something that would like get like a headline or something like that, which you don't want really at the same time. But I'm trying to think what they said. I think they tried to like stitch you up with like trying to say one of your mates, like, oh, this is all when I was a scholar. So I think they're trying to say stitch you up with like one of your mates went out or something like that, or nothing about football kind of thing. But yeah, it is needed as well. That's that training side of it as well is needed.
Yeah. Do you think it's fair to say you have to be a bit of like a politician when you're answering the questions?
Yeah, just a bit. Some days I feel like just saying like what I really feel like, and then I think, oh no, because I'll say that and then like I'm just gonna get thrown under the bus. So like, but it's one of them. It's just the way especially how the like journalists or like, newspapers like come out and like they twist your words as well. So it's hard for you to be yourself kind of thing. But it's that's how the industry is with like sport, especially sports in England. Because you go out to Spain or something, or like somewhere else, and it's quite. You see more positive news about like how the team's going, or you know what I mean. But here it's like little things, and they just try and get at you for no reason. It's like just because like bad news sells really for them.
Yeah, no, it's tricky because at the same time you want to have that good relationship with the fans, and at the same time you have to take into account that you don't want to say the wrong thing because that's your job as well. So I think it is getting a bit better because you see players like, I don't know whether you've seen like the interviews like Maddison and Mason Mount, like that sort of lot. They're kind of trying to get in good balance between showing their personality but not crossing certain boundaries as well, which is I think quite an improvement. So fans can kind of see their personality as well.
Yeah, especially with a lot of things that like the behind the scenes things.
Yeah,
I feel that helps like try and get fans like a gauge of like how you are as a person as well. I feel that is helping to like get the fans in touch, because really as a fan all you want to do is be involved with the club, and because like I'm Blues, anything that Blues come up I'll watch or something like that, because I want to feel involved with it.
Yeah,
like even though I've been there, been behind the scenes, but I still want to be like involved with it now.